Good morning. Our reading skill this week is about finding the theme of a story. Now, this is something that we've talked about earlier this year, but we did it together. So I thought I should just do a little bit of review because we didn't do any work where you, as the student, were finding the theme on your own. The theme can often get confused with other things that a story would have. Sometimes people get the theme mixed up with the plot, but the plot is what is happening in the story or what happens in the story, and you figure that out when you're done reading the story. Another mix-up that people often have is they mix up the theme with the main idea. The main idea is what the story is mostly about. Theme, though, is kind of a combination of these three things at the bottom. It's a combination of the moral of the story, the message, the lesson. Sometimes you'll get one of these, but oftentimes we kind of see it as a combination of the three things. The moral of a story is the positive message or advice that the story would give the reader. The message is a repeating idea that the author kind of has mixed in over and over in a story. And the lesson is what the author is teaching his or her readers, what they want you to learn after reading the story. Sometimes you'll just get a lesson, but sometimes you might see it as a moral lesson. So it's teaching you something, but it has that moral spin of advice with a positive message. And you'll see what I mean as we keep going here. Here are some popular themes that stories will often have, and these are just very basic. They would be added on to based on the characters in the story. So you might see stories and read stories about accepting others, about having courage, about believing in yourself, about family, about jealousy, love, honesty, goodness, respect, and discovery. So those are just some basic overlying themes that we see in stories sometimes. If you take a character like Junie B. Jones, that we've read quite a few of her books this year, a lot of those stories have a theme of discovery, and that's Junie B. Jones discovering different things about herself that she didn't know, and also discovering things about the world that she didn't know, like not understanding the way the cafeteria works, or not understanding the way the playground works when she's trying to take her friend's shoes for being a better runner. Those type of little things that we read about with Junie B. Jones. Now, one thing that's important to know about the theme is, just like when you have a cupcake that has that kind of hidden cream filling in the inside of the cupcake, the theme is also hidden inside the book. So you have to read the whole story in order to understand and find the theme. And also, it's kind of hidden. It's not going to come right out and tell you, be nice to others in the text. You have to figure that out on your own by understanding what's happening with the characters. Here are two books that most of us are very familiar with. Books that we've read in the classroom, books that you've maybe read at home or have had read to you. So I thought these would be two good examples to just talk about the theme of these books, since I'm not going to read aloud a whole book right here on the video. So in the story, Little Red Riding Hood is sent off from her mother's house with a basket of goodies for her grandmother because her grandmother is home sick. So here goes Little Red Riding Hood off in the woods, and she is stopped by a wolf. And the wolf, in some versions, tells her, oh, maybe your granny would like some flowers. Oh, that sounds great. So Little Red Riding Hood kind of takes her time and picks some flowers before getting to Granny's house. She gets to Granny's house, she sees Granny in the bed, and she's really confused, and she's saying things like, oh, Granny, what big eyes you have. And the Granny's saying, all the better to see you with. What big hands you have. All the better. And then the wolf jumps up and grabs her to grab you with, or catch you with. So at the end of that story, The message or the theme is that sometimes appearances can be deceiving, and appearances are what we look like. So in the woods, that wolf looked like such a nice guy helping her out with advice, but really he was a bad guy. And then when she got to Granny's house, he was dressed up to appear, so that's his appearance, what he looks like, to look like her granny, like a loving granny who's sick in bed. But that was deceiving, that was tricking her, so that she would trust him. And so that was the message or the theme of the story, that sometimes our looks, our appearances can be deceiving. Another book that we're all pretty familiar with is The Three Little Pigs. And here we have the three brothers, and they all choose a different material to build their house with. Okay, one uses straw, one uses stick, and one uses brick. And then the different versions I've read, they kind of make two of the brothers seem a little lazy. You know, I'm going to do it with straw, and then I'm going to be done. It's going to be quick and fast. And the sticks too. Like, oh, yep, quickly I'm going to gather up these sticks and make this house and be done. And then you've got the one brother who really puts in the work and the effort, and he's gathering the bricks, and then, you know, he's got to put that cement, that mortar in between them to really make them stick, and he's taking a long time. Those other two brothers are off playing and enjoying themselves, and that third brother's still working on building his house. But at the end of the book, what happens? That brick house that he spent so much time working on is the only house that can stand up to the big bad wolf. As he huffs and he puffs and he blows those houses down, the only one left is the brick house. So the theme of that story is that hard work will pay off in the end. So if you keep working hard and don't try to take that easy way out, it will pay off in the end. So here's our story that we're going to read, and this is Click, Clack, Moo. Now, at the end of reading Click, Clack, Moo, you're going to go over to Seesaw, and you're going to fill out a graphic organizer about the theme. So I want you to figure out what is the message or the moral or the lesson that the author is trying to teach you in this story, Click, Clack, Moo. And then I want you to show me the detail or the evidence. Show me 2 or 3 examples of how you know that that's the message that the author wants you to walk away with. Just like a detective would. He would find that evidence to prove that someone was guilty. I want you to find the evidence to prove to me that that's the theme of the book. Now, some of us might walk away with a different theme, and that's okay, as long as you can find those details from the book to show me what the theme is and why you think that. Okay? If it's easier for you, here are some tricks for Seesaw. So one thing is you can always use that T, that capital T, that typing box, and type your answer, because that way you can make the writing as big or as small as you want to fit on the board. Another thing is, I don't know if you all know this though, is that you can click on the image, the graphic organizer, or whatever paper I'm giving you in Seesaw, and you can pinch your fingers on the screen and widen them, and that will make the picture get bigger. So then you can really focus on that one area that you're writing, and then you can take your fingers that are far stretched out and kind of pinch them back together in the middle, and that will make the picture go back to its normal size, and then you can find the other spot that you want to write. But it won't mess up your writing when you do that, okay? So you can pinch and squeeze and push out to make it bigger, and then pinch with your fingers really spread apart and pinch them into the middle to make it back to normal size again, and then find the next area to write. So just some different ways to kind of help you with the writing on these images in Seesaw. If you have any questions, let me know.